Hey there. Can you all see me? I don't know. I still don't know how to set this camera. I need to get one of those kind that has a viewer on the front so I can see what you will see. But I don't have that kind. I just have a little flip camera. I am really winding down on this job. I've been putting off painting on the underneath side of this cabinet in the bathroom because it was all filled with really nasty contact paper that was, well, not nasty, but it was nasty in the fact that it didn't want to come off. And I knew I was going to have to come in here and scrape it off all the hard way, which I have now done. Washed this area out, and I'm now putting a coat of primer in here. And then I'll paint it and move on, but I'm almost done here. I wanted to talk to you guys about something. I was listening to a discussion about Israel, and you know, it's a great mystery and strange sensation that all of my Jewish friends, and I know a lot of Jewish people, I live in Los Angeles, I'm a musician, do the math, and also a lot of my clients, people I work for, are Jewish. Most of them are proudly vocal about their Jewishness, and they've got the little bit of a Torah hanging there on the front door frame that I've always got to work around or have them take that down for me. I forget what that thing's called, mezuzah, I don't know what the thing's called. I'm lousy at remembering these names, but they've got that little thing, and they are clearly Jewish. Because, I mean, being a Jew has some advantages, but they're all liberal and they are all wildly anti-Israel. And it's a weird sensation, because I've been here long enough that I can remember back to the time when, you know, I'd go to cocktail parties and all the Jewish friends were talking about their trip to Israel and how much they enjoyed it. Many of them were sort of, you know, wildly interested in all of that. Of course, you know, this is at a time when there was still a socialist movement going on over there, but now they all hate Israel. And I'm starting to hear that called anti-Semitism a lot. And I think that that's not accurate. I don't know if that's being used that way in a political sense to mess with the issue. But you have to kind of wonder otherwise. Okay, well, we get it. It's pretty obvious they don't like Israel because Israel is now considered to be right-wing. And if there's anything that the left is dedicated to, it's to not like the right wing, no matter what. If you call something right-wing, you call something conservative, then you have to hate it or you're not welcome at the cocktail party. I mean, you are not allowed to think for yourself on the left. I'm sorry, you're not. When I was on the left, I was always being basically told what to think, and ever since I started varying on these things, it's been made very plain to me that there will be consequences for thinking other than what is the standard issue leftist thought. And you will pretty soon start being called bad things like Republican, which is a curse word. But I think it's different. It's not anti-Semitism because, I mean, they're clearly fine with being Jewish. They're observing Jewish holidays. They're fine with all the Jewishness. They hate Israel. But why? Why is it that they hate Israel? They didn't hate Israel when Israel was standing up for itself in the 70s. And I think it's part of something that I want to talk to, that I'm going to just make this brief, but it's going to be an intro to a much larger and more in-depth investigation of an idea. I think what the liberals really are is they are a sort of Saviorist group. They don't believe in Jesus, but they want to be Jesus. They don't believe that Jesus was the Savior, but they suspect that they are. And I don't mean to say that they're delusional and think that they're God or anything like that. It's not that. It's that they, because of the march forward of secularism and all the stuff that they picked up in their trip through college, it's not hip to be a Christian. Plus, Christianity is identified with the right. And you must hate the right. And if there are a significant number of Christians over there, I mean, the people who object to abortion are Christians, if they believe in Jesus, well, you really got to separate yourself from them as much as you possibly can. So that leaves a sort of a void if you grew up with a lot of Jesus imagery going on. And a lot of the left is made up of, non-Jews who grew up Christian, and so they have cast off Jesus, and they have, but they have become very much, their own self-image is of a type of savior. You can't get their attention really as a group until you put together your victim resume. You've got to come up with some way in which you're being victimized, hopefully, preferably by white people who have some money. If you are being victimized, you're in. There will be room for you at the cocktail party being run by the left. Now, the reason why is they want to save people. They think that that's the thing. They will never, no leftist I know will ever quite recover from not being at the rally with Martin Luther King, with Bob Dylan and Joan Baez singing on stage with Odetta, oh my God, particularly folk singers, and I particularly know folk singers. But in general, academic, activist leftists see themselves as the liberators, the great liberators. The only Republican they will talk about liking is, of course, Abraham Lincoln, who, if you listen to them, was, not really a Republican. No, he's really a Democrat. They just didn't have Democrat in the same way back then, so he had to be something. But that energy is now firmly ensconced on the left and dead on the right. They will have you believe. But the great liberators is what they believe they are. They want to liberate women from the chains of men who are holding them down by doing awful things like providing for them and allowing them to stay home and raise children. Oh my God, once you get the left to believe that somebody is being imprisoned, unless of course that somebody is a conservative, then you have got them riled up and ready to roll. They believe they are the saviors. And so somebody convinced them that the Palestinians were the victims. And there's a fair scenario to be made that is plausible. But once it fully toggled over to that, as opposed to the way I grew up thinking that, wow, there's a story on each side, and I feel for the Palestinians, but the Israelis it's a democracy, and everybody's welcome there, and they treat women wonderfully, and they are noble and brave and courageous people who have roots in that part of the world just as certainly as the Palestinians do. But I can see the point of the Palestinians. It's gone from that to Palestinians good, Israelis bad. And we are now at the place where we're trying to equate to make a moral equation that all the bombings, and suicide bombings, and terrorist attacks that have taken place on the side of the Palestinians over the years and all the threat that they've brought to Israel is completely is completely just a reaction to something that was really started by Israel. But all I'm trying to say is I don't think that's anti-Semitism. I think what that is saviorism. And whenever you get it's like with the gay movement. There's just a couple % of people in the country who are gay. Just a couple %. And those people live almost entirely in huge enclaves where they are the political power. Go to West LA. It is owned by gays. Go to chunks of San Francisco. It's owned by gays. Manhattan, this is not an oppressed minority. This is a minority with a tremendous amount of clout because they've teamed. They've gone into places, they own property, and they are on the city council, and they're running the local governments. This is not an oppressed minority at all. But because they've become good at acting the victim, they can trigger the entire left to come to their aid at a moment's notice. They can just go, oh my God, remember this? Matthew Shepard, remember? So we go back 15, 18 years to one kid who was actually a murder over a drug deal gone wrong, but the kid was gay. And so Matthew Shepard, and everyone takes to the streets. Oh my God, we've got to have that one last right that we're being denied, and we're not going to sleep until we do. And so the very institution that for decades has been called obsolete and a vestige of male chattel slavery and noxious paternalistic society is suddenly the greatest thing in the world. Except unless it's for a woman to be married to a man. But as long as it's a man married to a man or a woman married to a woman, it's the greatest. Marriage is wonderful. Oh, as long as it's only gay people getting married. How do these people keep straight? I wouldn't want to have one of these people navigating my ship, because the ability to believe one thing and not react to it at all when you see that it's not true, much like I'm going to believe that iceberg's not there, and I'm not going to react at all as I slam into it. The ability to have that cognitive dissonance and to believe one thing while simultaneously believing the other or claiming the other, it's a troubling thing, But anyway, it's not anti-Semitism. What it is a further expression of this Saviorist impulse that really is an imitation of Jesus, right? Because we got the Jesus myth early on. I don't know if this is so true for Jews on the left. I just think that they're so on the left that they pick up what's there on the left. And there are a relatively small number of Jews on the left, even though most Jews are leftists. Most leftists are not Jews. So it's really this saviorism thing that I think is at work here. And it's going, and it shows up everywhere. And it's funny, I was talking with a friend the other day, and we were saying that just about the time that young people decided they didn't believe in Jesus anymore, they all started dressing like him. Everybody started wearing flowing robes, and all the guys wore the Jesus beard, and everybody started doing the benedictions toward one another, and sort of everybody became it became a sort of a peace contest. From there on out, John Lennon looked like Jesus. Everybody looked like Jesus for a while there. Look at that. We were wearing Jesus sandals and robes and all of this stuff. So just as we're letting go of Jesus in terms of believing in him, we don't want to let go of the whole idea of the Savior. So we're going to embody that ourselves. And this has got all mucked up and all messed around. And now it's just become... people don't even know what they're doing. I don't think people are not conscious what they're doing most of the time. You have to be outside of them to observe them. And the people that are in there are so blinded by the other trees in the forest, they can't see what this shit is. But keep an eye out for that. And I'm going to revisit this at a later time, but I'm going to shut this off for now. Okay, because I've got a lot of work to do today.